Guys, I'm going to make a tutorial on how to make podcasts because I am now 122 episodes in, and I had a friend ask me, tell me that he was confused on how to do it, and it really is incredibly simple. I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing, but if you're just looking to just make a podcast with really no editing or anything special, I can show you how to do that. Anything above and beyond that, I have no idea what to do, but this is what I do for TPC. So I record on I record on both Skype, or not, sorry, I record on both Zoom and I screen record. So I screen record using QuickTime Player down here, and I also do Zoom because Zoom also records. And the reason I do that is because I have done podcasts before where I finish it and then something went wrong, and it wasn't even that I forgot to record. The file got corrupted or damaged, and then I just lost the podcast. Luckily, when that happened, it was just me and a couple friends fucking around, acting like jackasses. And it wasn't an important episode, but that kind of scared me because I was like, what if I have on someone important and I don't get it and I can't have that person on again? So I screen record with QuickTime Player, and then I also do Zoom. And Zoom records, QuickTime Player does a full screen record. So on this 2019 Mac, I believe it records in 4K. And that's obviously a massive file, but the camera's not recording in 4K, but it records the screen in 4K. So it's really a massive file with it's not worth it because you're not getting the full thing. You're paying that 4K price, but you're only getting what the video records in. So if it's Skype or Zoom, you're getting like a 540p video recorded in 4K. So I compress those, and I'll show you how to do that. But as my backups, I do Zoom because Zoom records the video, and it is, well, one, it has like a timestamp on it, and it switches the angle back and forth between who is speaking, so that's kind of cool. But it's also, like I said, I use it as a contingency. It's my backup one, and the video is much, much smaller. It's like a 2-hour podcast with QuickTime Player. When I compress the 4K to 1080p, it's still like 5 or 6, probably 7 gigabytes. And even with decent internet, your upload speed is always a fraction of your download speed. So I upload a 7 gigabyte podcast every evening. I mean, shit, dude, it takes 4 or 5 hours for it to upload to YouTube, and like another hour for YouTube to process it, to go through, scan it for wrongthink and all those other incendiary topics like independence and liberty. But with Zoom, the file is so small that you can upload it really in like 20-30 minutes, and I have done that a couple times. When I had Mike Durant on and I was kind of chomping at the bit, I wanted to upload it and show everyone that I did it. I uploaded that one in Zoom. Now the video quality is much lower. I've also found that the audio is much lower. I don't know shit about audio, so I can't give you an explanation as to why it is, but I know that the audio quality is lower. It sounds a lot more muffled versus with the QuickTime Player, the screen record, it's much higher. So I always upload in the QuickTime Player, but I save a QuickTime Player and a Zoom just as a backup. So let's say I have a guest, new meeting, cool beans. Hey, look at that jackass. And yes, I'm using computer audio. I always go to participants, invite, and I copy the link, copy invite, and then you always text that code, and that's whoever I'm having on, give it to them. Let's say they accept. What I will then do is record on this computer, and now I'm also recording on Zoom. So here it is, we're doing our thing, whatever, conversation's over, 2 hours later, peace, stop recording, and then the recording file will be converted to MP4 when the meeting ends. So then after you stop recording, you hit end meeting for all, and it's going to start converting it. Do not fucking close out. So that took 2 seconds. Normally it takes like 5-10 minutes. Do not fucking close out of Zoom. Don't do anything because it will fuck up the file and you will be fucked. So just don't do anything while it's converting. Now it's converting, I always have it saved here. Here's my file. It'll give you your audio only. Record on this computer. And now I'm also recording on Zoom. There you go. And it will also give you your Zoom.
record on this computer. And now I'm also recording on Zoom. So here it is. We're doing our thing, whatever. Conversation's over. 2 hours later.
Got it, right? And look at the file, 2.4 megabytes. Now, I can't do a screen recording right now with QuickTime. Well, I am, but I can't show it to you because I'm using it, getting a little bit of a meta problem. But let's just go here. And so let's say I have my file ready, right? This is what I do. That little plus button right there. Upload video. Upload video. Select the file. I'm going to upload this piece of shit. 2.4 megabytes. Again, normally it's take a lot longer. Blah, blah, blah. Call it Zoom shit poop. Poop. Tell viewers about your video. Know you. I always have a thumbnail, so we'll just grab one from one of the other episodes. Thumbnail. Navy radar. That's a good one. Drone warfare. There we go. Let's do drone warfare. No, it's not made for kids. More options. Now, so you have your tags. So I'm going to delete this video anyway, but whatever. You'll say tutorial, whatever. So if you're trying, so to get your video, I guess, more searchable, if that's proper English, is more gooder. There's a synergistic effect. So if you just put the same word here, here, and here, that will give you, I mean, you're putting it in 3 times, so now it has 3 tags of that word. But there is something with YouTube where this isn't some secret life hack. Click now. No, it's just a thing that if you put one specific word as the first word in each of these, it will come up not with just the value of 3 SEO, search engine optimization, like keys. It'll have a synergistic value, so it will be greater than the sum of its parts. So it will have a arbitrary value of, instead of 3, it might have an arbitrary value of 10. So what I always do, you'll notice in all my videos, TPC, and then it'll be episode, whatever. If you always look in the description, it will always say TPC number whatever is about yada yada yada. And then down here, my first one will always be TPC, and then tutorial, bitch, poopy, pandas. Yeah, red. So TPC, TPC, TPC. And that's relative to other keywords. So my podcast is very small, so it's not like you're going to Joe Rogan, but you can look up other channels will do that. Next, I always make public. And again, this isn't I guess a good example, because it normally takes hours to upload, and then it takes like another half hour to process, and here it is just saying finished processing, so it's not exactly good. I don't ever do scheduling. I don't have kids in my video. I'm not some creepy channel. So publish, and it normally sits on this screen. Again, see, that's instantaneous, but I'm normally waiting for hours and hours and hours. There it is. Again, it's up instantly, and normally you'll see it uploading for a long ass time. Let's go check out my channel. Euthanizing of dangerous. Jesus Christ. Shout out, Frank. My channel. Drone warfare. Oh, come on, you piece of shit. TPC. TPC. Come on. Jesus Christ. Well, apparently this example is not working. Jesus.
Record on this computer. And now I'm also recording on Zoom. So here it is. We're doing our thing, whatever, conversation.
Okay, see? Now, because I don't actually want this up there, I'm going to delete this bitch. Good day, sir. Delete forever. Are you sure? Oh, yes, Hans Breaking, very sure. Okay, and now we're going to get a little meta. I'm going to close this screen recording and then screen record what I do with the screen recordings. But I can't do it in one video because you can't look at the back of your head. I can't show you a screen recording. So what I'm going to do is what I normally do is up here, I close that. It will appear on my desktop, but because I have a MacBook, my desktop is linked to my iCloud, so it will immediately start uploading, which I don't want to do because it's a big-ass file. So I always put it in downloads because I have downloads unlinked to my iCloud, so it just sits on my computer. So screen recording this. I always drag this bitch over to... Fuck. Nope, wrong place. There you go. Move it. See, now not in my iCloud. Okay. So let's look at this shit. It is... I always will... God damn it. Piece of shit. Well, I'm not using Zoom anymore, so we can close that fucker out. So the first thing I always do is I just make a file for this episode. So this is 123. This literally is episode 123. So, and here it is. So look at that. That was like, what, 10 minutes maybe? Look at the size of this file. 656 megabytes, right? For literally 10 minutes. So you can guess when it's at hours. So the first thing I always do is I take the main one. And I always do TPC. This is obviously my podcast. What number episode is it? And then SR, screen recording, because I don't want to delete this big ass file until I'm finished with it. Now, granted, this one's in 4K. I'm not actually going to upload it, but I always save it just while I'm editing. So what do I do with it? First thing I do is I open it. There you go. Up here, I hit File, Export as 1080p, and I always say TPC 123. What I say is QTP, QuickTime Player. Right? I'm a fucking genius. Put it in the same folder. It's gonna take a minute. This always heats up my computer, so I turn on these like little fans I have. You may be able to pick it up through the microphone, and if that is the case, I'm sorry, because I normally don't. See, you can even just see 6 minutes. Jesus Christ. Fuck that. Jesus Christ in heaven. We really about to sit here for 6 minutes? Fuck no, we're not. I'll edit this part out. Yeah, I don't really... God damn it, I don't actually want to sit through this for 6 minutes. Fuck that. I'm just gonna say let's export it as... whatever, let's just pretend it's 480. Place. Maybe it will go faster. Fuck that. Maybe it will go faster. How the fuck? Whatever. Fuck that. Let's just pretend, because I don't want to wait for 8 minutes. So let's just pretend that this is that video, the Zoom one. So normally I would say TPC 123 QTP. Sounds like a Michael Jackson knockoff song. It's easy as TPC 123 QTP, baby, you and me. And so whereas this 4K recording is 650, it's normally a fraction of that. But again, I don't want to actually fucking wait to do it. So here it is. Here is TPC 123 QTP. What I then do... I drag this much smaller file, because normally this will be like a 2-hour, 3-hour conversation screen recording. It'll be 50, 60 gigabytes. It's fucking huge. When I shrink it down to 1080p, it's normally like 7 maybe. So I take this much smaller file. Again, we're just pretending this is a QuickTime Player file, not a Zoom file. Bring it over here. And I'll edit out bathroom breaks, blah, 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 whatever I want. Right? I'll normally always write down the timestamp. So if I went and I urinated at 5 seconds, there it is. You can go in, splice it. And then what I do is I always click the thing, or if I splice it up, I select all clips. I always go up here, and this is the only thing I do. Volume, auto, just makes it sound better. I couldn't possibly explain to you what's going on. And then I always bump it up to, oh, there you go, 123. I always bump it up into the teens or the 20s. And that's just a personal thing, because there's nothing I hate more than when you're watching a video on YouTube, and despite having your phone turned up and the YouTube volume turned up, when it's just not loud enough, I fucking hate it. So I'd rather this be a little louder and possibly a little scratchier or lower quality, and I upload that. So that's how I do it. And then what I do is file, share, file. I name it. Now this one is, well, I'm not going to upload this, but whatever it is, I always say final. Resolution, I choose that. Quality, I choose high. And I compress, it's always the same. Now you can go to like ProRes. I don't know what that is, but you can see what it does, 84. So if it's like 7 gigabytes, it will go up to like 200, which is insane. I'm not actually uploading this though, so let's just go as quick as we can to make it as fast as we can. Next, where am I saving it? Saving it in that folder. You'll see up here is your little progress bar. Now iMovie always, and this normally takes again like 30 minutes. And you wait until you get that notification that says successful. Because if it just finishes and then you close the program, it will fuck up the file. So just wait until it actually says successful. Okay. What I do is I always go here. You gotta delete that one first, and then you gotta go up here, delete that, because those will stack up in your library and you'll be using ton of memory and not even know it. All right, I make the thumbnail, which I just do in Photoshop Mix. It's a free app. Just choose whatever font and color you want. If you want to go in and make it fancy, that's on you. Go figure it out. I don't know. I know how to do graphic design, but I'm not. That's beyond the scope of this episode, so fuck off. But so there's your final. Then what I will always do is I'll export as audio only, and I'll save it always as final audio. And this always, even with the biggest video, this happens instantaneously, so that's actually accurate. This is taking longer than it normally takes, like a 50. What the fuck? So, Jesus Christ, I don't know. Guess we're in clown world. Everything's upside down. Jesus. And so, in here, in this folder, I will normally have my screen recording, which is my main, that's like your big daddy file. It's always like 50, 60 gigs. Your QTP, that's the one you shrunk down, you compressed. And then it will be your final. And I don't know why this is bigger than this. Normally the iMovie one's always smaller than the QuickTime Player one, which is always smaller than the screen recording. So at this point, and then I always so you have this, you turn it into this, and you turn it into this, and then from this you get your audio. Now also, if this was just Zoom, you would also have your Zoom you would have your Zoom audio too. And so I normally put all these in like the same folder, and what I'll have is I'll have final audio, and then I'll always label that I'll always label that Zoom audio. And then you'll always also have Zoom video, but obviously, as you saw earlier, we're using the same video thing twice. So you always have Zoom audio and Zoom video in addition to your final and your final audio. So you have two of everything. I save my final audio and my final video, my final audio, and I save my Zoom audio and Zoom video, as well as the thumbnail. Those 5 things: final video, final audio, Zoom video, Zoom audio, and the thumbnail. I put all those on an external hard drive. What I also do is not the QTP one. You don't need that one, so I always get rid of that. But I always save the screen recording one, the massive file. I always put that on an external, just because everything else is a derivative of that. So if I end up fucking shit up, I can always go back to the main primary file, the original single-celled organism, if you will, and I make the video from that. So what I do is I always drag that into my external hard drive, and that's a huge file, so it takes a couple minutes, and I always save it for just a day, because by then I've gone back, I've watched the podcast, and I know that it's fine, the file's fine, I've saved all the video, and I know I don't need it anymore. So by the time the next day rolls around and I have the next podcast episode, I go back into my external and I delete it, because they do build up quick. Within 10 episodes you'll have almost a terabyte. Now if you have a ton of externals, go for it, save them all. I always delete the screen recording video because I don't need it anymore, but I always save it for 24 hours, and then I go in and delete it and replace it with the new one. But let's pretend I did that. Don't need that anymore. You'll have your remaining shit. Yeah, and then you upload it, and I also upload to Anchor, and I'm uploading more to BitChute because YouTube's going full 1984. So everything you just saw, I'm now going to do that with this video that is going to be uploaded. So yeah, I can't show you doing it with this video because I have to stop recording to do that, but you get the point. So that is how I make my podcast. Pretty fucking simple, and I'm sure if you're watching this, you could very well know an easier way, and if you do, please comment so I don't keep wasting my fucking time. But that's what I do, and I hope it helped you guys out. Aside from that, man, just start. Find guests, find friends, email people. You're going to get turned down 99% of the time. Just do that, start uploading, and have fun. And yeah, that's all there is to it. That's really all there is to it.